This is Senator Jackie Rosen from Nevada. I'm not sure that Chairman Wicker is on, so I believe that I am the last senator, and I will ask a few questions and we will close this hearing out. I want to thank you for being here today, and Commissioner Slaughter, I want to tell you that you really exemplify what during this pandemic, what so many families are going through, trying to balance work and childcare and all of that. And I appreciate you sharing your beautiful sleeping baby with us today. It reminds us of all the important work that we have to do to protect things for the next generations. But I want to talk just a little bit about Notario scams. You know, Nevada, it's home to thousands of immigrant families who make up really the diverse fabric of our state and of our nation. Almost 30% of Nevadans identify themselves as Hispanic or Latino, and our scammers have targeted members of these communities as they go through the immigration process. Of course, we know one common form of deception are the so-called notario. While public notaries may perform the duties of attorneys in some Latin American countries, they cannot practice law, give legal advice, or accept legal consultation fees here in the United States. Nonetheless, bad actors will suggest that they can guide an individual through the U.S. immigration process, even though they're not qualified or authorized by federal law to do so. We know that only a lawyer or federally accredited representative can provide someone with legal advice, and so therefore so many in my state are falling prey to these scams. In response, in 2015, the Federal Trade Commission, you released a photonovela, educational graphic novel to raise awareness about notario schemes in Latino community. And since then, Nevada's Chief Deputy Attorney General Mark Kruger indicated that notario scams are expanding even broader into our AAPI communities, our Ethiopian communities, and our Nigerian communities. So to Ms. Slaughter and Mr. Chopra, although the 2015 campaign increased awareness about notario scams in our Latino community, like I said, we know fraud is rising in many of our minority communities. What other types of outreach or resources are you doing with the FTC to protect individuals from notarios, other kinds of fraud? How are you working with our state agencies and communities to prevent this? Ms. Slaughter, you can go first.
Thank you, Senator. And I want to thank you for your kind words about the baby. And I just want to note on behalf of all of the working parents out there, I appreciate everybody saying nice things about how easy this looks, but it is really hard. And so I just want to have a moment for all of the families who are trying to juggle childcare and their professional responsibilities and acknowledge that it is a really, really challenging time, especially for parents of young kids. So I appreciate the support from everybody on the committee and the understanding. In terms of your question, I think this is a hugely important issue. Paying attention to scams that target our most vulnerable communities should be among the highest priorities we have. And in addition to the outreach that we do, we can work with our state partners, and we often host local events with community organizers and groups, and work with state AGs to raise awareness in order to help prevent people from falling for these scams before they even come up. We need to do enforcement to stop them when they happen where it's possible, but we would rather they not happen to begin with.
Mr. Chopra, anything to add?
Yeah, thanks, Senator Rosen. You know, when it comes to notario fraud, this has been actually an ongoing problem now. It's actually pretty difficult to enforce on a one-by-one basis. And one of the things I think we have to start thinking about is more criminal sanctions. And also, what are we going to do to go after the plumbing of some of these rings of mob-like fraudsters? We need to look at how they're moving money. I think we have to look at this more with cracking down on a mob mentality, an organized crime, rather than one by one. So, you know, it's definitely a huge problem, and it's been really worrisome to see how it's just invading so many states across the country. So we have to look at this systemically and not just one by one.
Yeah, by the time sometimes we find out about it, the people that have been affected have just gone really through such a terrible experience. And I look forward to working with you and figuring out what we can do about that. But for the last question, I want to talk just what's on everybody else's mind too, probably a little bit, is unemployment and PII. You know, the coronavirus, of course, hit Nevada's economy harder than any state in the nation. I don't know if you know that. We had unemployment over 30% in April. It was the highest in the country. It's still, I think, the highest in the country. Our average is about 15% now. That was in June. We'll wait to see what the numbers are coming back up. More than 500,000 Nevadans, they filed for unemployment insurance since March 14th. Of course, again, we're seeing scammers, we're seeing criminals. They're trying to defraud people. They're trying to hack into the system. They're taking that personal identifiable information. They're doing phishing, impersonation scams, and the impact of this cannot be underestimated. In Nevada, really thousands of families are waiting on their unemployment benefits because we're having to weed through some of these hackers and scammers, whatever you want to call them. And so as the agency charged with protecting consumers' personal information, you at the FTC really have a significant role to play. And I would want to just quote a little bit from the FTC that using law enforcement policy initiatives, consumer and business education to protect consumers' personal information, that is what you're charged to do. So let me ask, I don't think Chairman Simons is on. I see you there, Mr. Chopra. We'll ask you first, how much time and resources is being devoted? Do you know, or anybody that's still on? I can't see everything on my screen either.
Sure, and I believe the chairman has joined.
Okay, so whoever they think they can answer, I see some blank screens, some initials. It's the joy of working this way. How much time are you devoting to this? Because it's not just a problem in Nevada, it's a problem everywhere, and hardworking people are not able to pay their bills because we have to take so much time to stop the scammers from stealing the hard-earned tax dollars that we're using on unemployment benefits right now. Chairman Simons, are you on? I don't hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now. Thank you.
I can hear you. Yeah. So that, like I said, the power went out and then my jetpack went out. So, but I've got another battery supply. So hopefully that'll be okay. So we're doing at least two different types of things. One is we're actually suing people over this kind of stuff. And the other thing is that we have an incredible amount of outreach. We're on all levels. We're dealing with first of all, we have an FTC website that deals with all these types of scams relating to coronavirus, including the financial ones. We've got we have our folks are out all over the place doing media, and they are doing meetings and town halls and that type of thing. They did one effort with the AARP that was participated, where 800,000 people participated. So, you know, it's all our regional offices where we have, you know, boots on the ground there. They're out there all the time doing this kind of thing. And then we're doing it online, and then we're bringing enforcement actions.
And do you think there's a role for you to partner? This is my final question for you, Chairman. Is there a role for us to partner, for you to partner with our state unemployment agencies? Of course, during this pandemic, everything is turned on its head where you might not partner with them. But in this extreme case, with every state, everybody applying, what is a role that you can do to help states like mine who are really suffering with a lot of, could be a lot of potential fraud?
So one thing I would say is that we have all kinds of partners, and they're very important in terms of making our work productive and effective and using our scarce resources. And I don't see, you know, why we wouldn't at least talk to the unemployment offices and see if there's something that we can do together to stop this type of horrible thing from happening.
Well, good. Well, I'm going to have my team reach out to you. Maybe there's some ways we can get some help out there, because I know it's not just hurting my state, but others. Well, I appreciate you. You know, I'm telling you, the baby was good. Baby slept. You had your power up and down. We're all in and out, all the technical difficulties today, but I want to thank everyone for taking the time to be here today and for the hard work that you do. And I know you're probably all happy to hear this, as considering with all the challenges we've had, that concludes our hearing. And the hearing record will remain open for 2 weeks. During this time, senators are asked to submit any questions for the record, and upon receipt, the witnesses are requested to submit their written answers to the committee as soon as possible. I thank you again. Please stay safe and healthy, and this hearing is adjourned.